Yo, what's up, everybody? This is your Cosmic Homegirl, and I'm doing a weekly forecast for all of us for June 14th of 2020, the week of June 14th of 2020 until June 21st of 2020. So don't forget that if you want to know what's going on for you personally, as far as based on your rising sign or your sun sign, or maybe even your moon sign, with this month, with the month of June, we're in the middle of an eclipse season, you guys. We had an eclipse on the 5th of June. We have another one coming up on the 20th of June. Or it could be the 21st, if you live in an eastern part of the world. So the time between eclipses is a little weird. It's a little hazy. It's very spiritual. There are portals that are, portals that are opened right now. We've got a lot of Neptune energy in the air. We've got, the sun squaring Neptune, Mars with Neptune. As along with the eclipse portals open, we have another eclipse in the beginning of July as well. What's the date on that one? July, July 5th or 4th, depending upon where you are in the world. So this is eclipse season. There's a lot of things happening, a lot of serious things. I'm sure you guys have seen that nationally, globally, and maybe even just around you in your community or within just your groups of people, your family, your close friends. A lot of people go through really huge life changes when it's eclipse season. So if you want to know how that's affecting you, just generally based on your sign, I do have horoscopes available for the month of June for each sign on my website. Just go to indigomoonastrology.com. Go to the horoscopes page and it'll lead you here. We still have Venus in retrograde, and then moving direct, we've got Mercury going retrograde actually this week that I'm covering. So if you want to know how that affects you, then this is my take on it right here. I do have 2020 horoscopes as well. So if you want to know what's going on for the year of 2020 for you, then you can go ahead and order one of these. I slashed them in half because half the year is over, but it does cover the whole entire year of 2020, all the eclipses, all the Mercury retrogrades, Venus retrograde, Mars retrograde, all the outer planet transits that are major. All of that are in these horoscopes. They're only $6.99 now. So now covering this week, June 14th, 2020. Before we get started, I'll just let you guys know, I always keep things pretty real around here, around these parts, around this camp. If my energy seems a little different this week, then I do apologize. I'm still trying to just pour myself into work, to be distracted away from other serious life things and life events that are going on, and I may not be as chipper or all there as usual, so just forgive me for that. But I'm still, listen, I'm just gonna keep it real. I lost another person that really meant something to me once upon a time. Venus retrograde in my 8th and 7th houses definitely brought them back, but not in the way that one would like someone from your past that you once shared your life with to be brought back to you. They were brought back to me with news that they had passed on, and this was someone who was an Aries stellium, a workaholic, and always pushed my ass to get up and work, even if I was in my feelings, even if I was tired. He motivated me all the time. So I'm really trying to, in his honor, just pour myself into work, instead of just, hiding out in the bottom of the ocean of feels and tears like a Pisces moon usually might try to do. So I'm still delivering the horoscope to you guys the best that I can. I'll still stay focused, but I just wanted to let you know if my energy is a little different. That's why. And if I'm not on social media as much right now, then that's why. I did post a GoFundMe link on my Instagram that I'll have up temporarily if you follow me. So if you could read that GoFundMe and share or donate, that would be very much appreciated. All right, so June 14th, the week of June 14th through the 21st. What's going on? What's the weather like? What's the cosmic weather? You know what? I just looked at this and I could have sworn that it said cosmic weather. I'm like, yo, Planet Watcher, are you like, trying what are you doing here? You guys really reporting the weather like me or what? But it says Aether. I don't know what that is. I'll click on it later, but let's get to your horoscope, you guys. So what's lingering is, of course, like I said, we're in eclipse season. The portal is open. So, you could have people exit your life. You could have people enter your life, depending upon where the eclipses are happening for you. Very important people, coming in your life, leaving your life. However, reconnecting with people that are important to you as well. Especially if it's anyone from like 18, 19 years ago, the last time the nodes and the eclipses were on the axis of Gemini and Aquarius, or like 8 or 9 years ago, 8, 9, 10 years ago. The other time where the axis of Gemini and Aquarius were lit up by the nodes and eclipses, except the nodes were flipped. You can have reconnections, you can have revisitation of, something to do with the past or things like that. Anything that you were going through depends on where these signs of Gemini and Sagittarius and also Cancer are in your chart. The Cancer Capricorn axis too. We've got an eclipse in Cancer this week, and I'll cover that in a sec. And we have an eclipse in Capricorn a couple weeks later. So wherever those signs are in your chart, you guys, whatever houses they rule, whatever parts of your life that they rule, there's big time things happening. And I really hate saying this term because I know a lot of people use it in corny ass ways, but I'm telling you, keeping it 100, keeping it all the way real, no, there's really big shifts happening. And because being in eclipse season, it is like this weird portal is open. A lot of people may feel weird, like in a daze, in a fog, especially like I said, we've got planets squaring and in conjunction with Neptune as well. You feel in this weird daze, you feel in a fog, you feel in it like you're in some alternate universe, especially when you see things happening around you that are so like what, it's hard to believe that this is reality, that this is the reality of the times, like with things that are going on outside of us, and maybe even outside of our immediate worlds that you may see in headlines, or if you watch the news or whatever. It's like surreal, right? And there could be things going on in your own world that they just seem surreal. Like, how could this really be happening? And you're trying to figure that out. Eclipse season is a very spiritual time. I myself have been making as many retreats to spiritual places as possible. I'm being hit by major outer planet transits, like exactly on me. And it's really, I'm already living like I'm in the motherfucking, like the portal, like I'm teetering over the portal, you know what I'm saying? So it's really happening right now energetically for all of us collectively. And I'm just like, yo, I just need to escape all this and go somewhere spiritual and just, people say meditate and pray. My way of meditating is like, I put my headphones on, I listen to certain music, go to the ocean, I went to a vortex, last weekend, into a forest, and, wherever is a calming, soothing place in nature, or if it's not in nature, maybe some of you guys go to a place of worship, or just somewhere that brings you peace, and be with the people that bring you the most peace at this time too. Okay, there's a lot going on in our world, and then energetically, even if you're not participating in all the global or national or community things, just energetically in your own world, within your own self, you probably feel this weird energy. How can I describe it? I mean, everybody may feel it differently, but my point is the time in between eclipses, it always feels like that. So try to do your best to stay grounded, connect spiritually to whatever spiritual, whomever you believe in, and, turn to the ones that you trust the most to discuss things, discuss how you feel, discuss what you're seeing and how it makes you feel, or, what's going on. Like, just get that stuff out. Or if you don't like talking to others about it, if you're more private, then however you pray or whatever, whomever you pray to, definitely a lot of that is needed at this time for a lot of people. And I'm not just speaking personally for myself, but I do what I do. I'm an astrologer, and I read tarot cards as well. So a lot of people turn to me, strangers and also friends. And so people tell me, they just come and they tell me all their things that are going on. And as I'm recording this and saying that, one of my friends who is going through it just dropped me a message right now, a voicemail. So there's just a lot for everyone. It's very intense. So do your best do your best to stay grounded, to stay at peace, and to express yourself, express however it is you're feeling. Don't hold it inside. And with all this Neptune in the air as well, we have the tendency to really tune into escapist ways. Escapism is real heavy right now, so and that's cool and everything, especially if you were born in the Neptune and Sagittarius generation, or the Neptune and Capricorn generation. Like if you were born in the 1970s and 1980s, there are planets opposing your Neptune, right? Your Neptunes right now. Okay. And also, we've got planets, like I said, angling Neptune in the sky, transiting Neptune. So it's going to be hard for a lot of you guys to stay grounded. In the Neptune and Cap generation, in the late the 80s and the early to mid 90s, I want to say. Yeah, I have some friends born in like the mid 90s who have this their Neptune is being hit. You know what I'm saying? And even like if you have early Neptune in Aquarius, Saturn is on your Neptune. So there's Neptune is being hit in the sky, and then for some generations Neptune is being hit. I'm gonna say all like 80s, 90s kids, pretty much 80s and 90s kids. You guys were all being hit. Our Neptunes are being hit one way or the other, and then Neptune in the sky. So that can bring out the want and the need for escapism, which is cool. Escape safely, but just make sure there's still some caution there, because Neptune aspects can lead some people to overindulge in escapism, or indulge in escapism that's unhealthy for them. Okay. Like running away for a while is cool. You know what I'm saying? Or if you have a little smokety smoke, drinkety drink, no judgment here, but just don't go overboard, you guys. All right. Okay. So that's lingering. And like I said, we've got Mars conjunct Neptune. I talked about this last week. I talked about it in the, I think I may have talked about it in the June monthly, the overall forecast, but I'll just talk about it a little bit. Mars is direction, it's movement, it's action. And then Neptune is, like a fog machine, and it's confusion and everything. So, when you combine the two together, some people could be very confused. They can perform actions that normally they wouldn't, because they are not, it's their sense of direction isn't as sharp, So be careful driving, be careful with whatever actions you perform. If you're walking, if you're handling materials, if we're whatever, any type of movement, be very cautious of slipping up, and you know what I'm saying? Just be cautious of that. Okay. Things do happen. So, especially if you like a lot of people drive, so be careful driving, you guys. So that's Mars and Neptune, or you may like walk into situations to where you don't see the boundaries properly. Like, you may perform some actions to where maybe you are in pursuit of something or someone, which Mars can rule as well, and you don't properly see the boundaries between yourself and that something or someone. Okay, now this could be really dope. I think I mentioned this before. If you are a performer, an artist, any type of physical movement combined with art and elegant movements, you know what I'm saying? It's really good for you. But if not, if you're in the more practical world doing practical tasks, just be careful of this, okay? And if it's not you, if you're still, sharp and everything on point, just be aware of your surroundings, of other people around you, because they may be walking around like, ooh, like zombies, just not paying attention, or driving like all stupid, not paying attention. So just be aware of that. And then we have the sun squaring Neptune. And we still have that lingering from last week, from the previous week. It was exact at the end of last week, but this week it's still lingering. It's trailing off as well as the Mars conjunct Neptune. So it's trailing off, y'all, but you know what? It's still in place. So Sun square Neptune can have us very confused with our sense of judgment as well, and maybe, expressing our authority in a way that maybe we shouldn't, because we're not properly seeing boundaries, like I said before, okay? Now, anything square or in a conjunction to Neptune can be harsh and produce results that are not in the best favor. You know what I'm saying? They don't work out for the best. They are not in the best judgment. However, it can bring out artistic and creative abilities, psychic abilities, connection to the spirit realm, stuff like that. It can really bring that out. But yes, some people can really feel like they're losing control with harsh Neptune aspects, and they really become either extra control freaks, or they just say, you know what, F it, I'm just gonna allow myself to lose control. And that's when things happen, like I said, where people overindulge in escapism and stuff, So just be aware of that still hanging out at the beginning of this week. So we do have the moon in Aries on the 14th. And we start out the day with the moon in a conjunction with Chiron. And like I mentioned last week, moon and Chiron transits they happen every month, once a month. So it's not like this crazy new phenomenon or anything, but so in the early part of the day, June 14th, if you have anything that pains you, anything you feel wounded over, any like soft spot in your world, your heart, that can be triggered with moon conjunct Chiron, where you can really feel emotional about stuff early in the day. But also, Chiron is called the wounded healer. So it's not just about feeling pain. It's how can I heal this pain? Or if I cause pain in others, what can I do to heal that? Or what can I do to just get over this? You know what I'm saying? Especially with it being in Aries. Aries people like to get over shit. 1 second they might be upset, and then within literally like the snap of a finger, they're just like la la la. The person that I just that was close to me before that passed, he was an Aries stellium, and I remember I would just be flabbergasted as a Taurus stellium. How can you just be pissed off and yelling 1 second, and then I take it in and I hold it? As a Taurus, we hold on to things, and then 5 seconds later the dude is skippity doo dah, all happy and coming up to me, hey, blah blah blah, and I'm like, wait, hold up, my ninja, we didn't even address like why you just popped off 5 seconds ago. Oh, I'm over that now. Why are you still why do you want to talk about old news? I'm just like, yo, for real. Like, Aries people trip me out with that because my energy is so different, But when the moon is in Aries, this is our emotional, as a collective, we can all feel Aries energy within our emotions, right? And how we're expressing them. So yeah, people may be a little more impatient, a little angrier, but as quick as people could be to anger is as quick as they could be to just try to let things go when the moon's in Aries, okay? So the moon's in Aries from the 14th until the 16th. So then we do have the moon making harsh aspects early in the day on the 15th to Pluto and Jupiter. And and then, to Pluto and Jupiter. So that can mean these are square aspects. So maybe some sort of power struggles. You want the freedom to just do you and march ahead doing you, but maybe there's some authoritative forces that are telling you no. This could be an inner conflict and an inner battle as well. Okay. And then we move on to the 16th. We have the moon moving into Taurus very early on the 16th. So moon in Taurus, there's an outer planet in Taurus. It's a little wild. So it's Uranus. So when the moon is in Taurus, normally it's a very chill vibe. It's much more chill. We're like, rah, when the moon's in Aries, get to the chopper now about everything. But then when it switches to Taurus, we are usually, we're like, okay, you know what? Let me just calm down, kick back and chill with some snacks, watch a little videos, Netflix, Hulu, whatever, and be in our comfy PJs with the nice pillow or blankie or teddy bear or something. So that's usually how it is. But with Uranus here, the moon, when it creeps up on Uranus, imagine it as like a freaking power plant or power station, beaming out all this energy, electricity, lightning bolts just shooting out of it. And then when the moon comes in contact with it, it's like all this, the moon's being electrically shocked. So that can equate to erraticism, erratic emotions that are just sudden, like your emotional state suddenly gets struck by lightning and it's like, and you feel anxiety, you feel nervous, or maybe your emotions just change very quickly. Like, you know what? I felt this way, but now all of a sudden I don't feel that way anymore. So that's kind of the vibe when the moon is with Uranus, and it's with Uranus pretty much the whole day on the 16th. So the usual kickback, laid back Taurus vibe is a little bit disrupted, shall we say. So it's different. But yeah, so there can be some of that. There can be some feelings of worry and anxiety over the comfort and the security of your world, of your material world, your physical world, the money that you have, how much food is in the house, are these certain bills being paid, our comfort and security, it's being disrupted overall by Uranus being in Taurus. Obviously, if you've been, unless you've been hiding in a cave somewhere, you would know this. But when the moon comes in contact, it's really like emotionally we're worried about stuff like that even more. Okay. And then when we move on to the 17th, the moon is still hanging around Uranus the early part of the day, but then it moves away throughout the day. Okay. So we have also, on the 17th, Mercury is going to go retrograde. So I talked about this a lot. I think in the June general overall forecast, but pretty much Mercury has been in its shadow period the whole month of June. Let's just say since the first couple days of June, Mercury's been in its shadow period, which means it's preparing to go retrograde. It's slowing down. So anything that Mercury rules is going a little bit haywire. That means our logic, our thinking, our communication, our methods of communicating, like the devices we use to communicate, all that stuff could be going haywire. And also traveling short distances, like walking, sprinting from here to there. Mercury can also rule that too. And so, or even going back and forth around the way, the vicinity of where you live. If you go to, the grocery store, the post office, the bank, those little places, going those places day to day is ruled by Mercury. Your vehicles, operating your vehicle, that can be said to be Mercury ruled as well. So anything regarding those things that I just mentioned over the past month could have been, or over the past couple weeks since June started, could have been malfunctioning, having some mishaps. There could have been hella typos and misspelling. Like, oh my gosh, as a 6th houser, I can't stand misspelling things and having typos. They really annoy me because I don't like to have to go back and correct stuff, but I know I should because it's not, it's not right, and it makes me look illiterate AF, so it's just, I hate it. Going back and redoing things is like a pet peeve, so a lot of you guys could have been experiencing this already too. Like, I was on social media just briefly this morning before I hopped on here, and I saw one of my homegirls was like, she's an Aries, typing in all caps, yelling like, WTF, I know I typed this and this, and then it disappeared. I don't know what's going on here. So yeah, just stuff like that could be happening. Or one of my homegirls dropped me a voice message last night, and she said she was recording, she was pouring her heart out, and then the mofo disappeared, and she doesn't know what happened to it. Does it just go off into the abyss? What happens. But Mercury retrograde, even in the shadow period, can make things like that happen. Okay, so Mercury finally is going retrograde for real on the 17th of June. Let's see. Yeah, if you're in Europe and beyond, it could be counted as the 18th of June. But excuse me. So Mercury is going to go retrograde. So all of that stuff is going to be in full effect, okay? And it's in Cancer, which is a very emotional, nostalgic sign, which goes back and remembers things and gets emotional about things already. The sign of Cancer, anything in Cancer does that. But Mercury is our mind and our thinking, so our mind and our thinking goes back in time. And Cancer energy can really think about, just being honest, it could think about hurt and pain and times that people have wronged you and times that people took advantage of you and stuff like that. So a lot of people could really be feeling that during Mercury retrograde. But also Cancer energy, it's nostalgia is like fun nostalgia too. Like, oh, remember these movies from my childhood, songs from when I was in high school. It's Cancer energy holds on to memories very dearly and has a very good emotional intelligence. Mercury in Cancer, emotional memories are very much cherished with Cancerian energy. So with Mercury going backwards in this sign, there's definitely a lot of nostalgia coming up. That's good too, reflecting upon the past, digging out old photos, things like that. It can be going on during that period. Mercury is going to be retrograde until July 12th. Okay, so from June 17th until July 12th, Mercury will be retrograde in Cancer, and then not until August is it going to be out of retrograde. Okay, so this 14th degree that Mercury is hanging out at, let me talk about that real quick. Mercury hanging out at 14 degrees of Cancer. I think this whole week, dang, I just switched from dark to light. It just, it messed with my eyes. I hope it doesn't mess with any of you guys. But I have a sensitivity to light with my eyes, so whatever. Where's Mercury at? Okay. Oh, okay. So Mercury is hanging out this whole week, you guys, especially starting with the 14th, at this 14th degree. Okay, so 14 degrees of Cancer, whatever's going on this whole entire week is very important and going to be up for review and revise and revisiting and viewing in a different light come the end of July, okay, when we have Mercury at 14 degrees of Cancer again. So things may come out in the wash, as they say, around the 25th, 26th of July. Things may come out in the wash. It's like, oh, aha, so this thing that was going on, and it does depend upon where the sign of Cancer, what house Cancer is in your chart, what house Mercury's going retrograde in. Just for shits and giggles, because I feel like it, I'll just list the signs for you guys. If you're an Aries, that's the 4th house of home and family. If you're a Taurus, Cancer is your third house, so that has to do with your vehicle, your driving day-to-day places, getting a vehicle. Yo, yeah, and I'm a Taurus, and I was thinking about buying a car, so I'm definitely not doing it during Mercury retrograde because that's our third house, Tauruses. But in regards to, yeah, like getting a vehicle, or the operation of your current vehicle, traveling day-to-day places, communication in general. If you are a Gemini, this is your second house, which is your money, your earned income. So money you earn from your job, from your own efforts, from producing something that generates income on your own. Okay. The budgeting, the financing, all of that stuff of your money. That's your second house. That's where Mercury's lingering at, and going retro. If you're a Cancer, it's in your first house, so it's you and it's your life and it's everything. I have several Cancers close to me, and they've already been doing a lot of reflecting on Cancerian themes about themselves, who they truly are, their place in this world, their life path, everything. And like also doing the Cancer thing, which Cancers normally do, is look at how much they've done for people versus how much those people have done for them. And, going back in memory and thinking about that stuff. So Mercury being at that 14th degree, just it'll all come out in the wash at the end of July. Okay. And then if you're a Leo, this is your 12th house, which is reflection upon the past. Anything in your past. It's your unconscious mind, spirituality, escapism, things like that. If you are a Virgo, that's your 11th house, which could be like your friends, the friendships that you have, the groups that you belong to, maybe wanting to reconnect with some of those people if you lost touch, for example, or just reviewing like, yo, do I even belong where I'm at? Or do I need to find a new tribe, a new group of fellow aliens? If you are a Libra, this is in your 10th house of career. So you're reviewing and revising, and it's like Mercury is having you really sit there and think about stuff and see from different perspectives your career, your title that you hold in life, your position of authority. If you are a Scorpio, it's your 9th house. So your 9th house is travel. Travel and expansion of the mind, and looking at life from a big picture perspective versus just the smaller details, and staying within one little mindset. It's looking at all different things, life in different perspectives. If you are a Sagittarius, it's your your 8th house. The 8th house, which is a lot of past traumatic experiences. It's also a financial house for you. Mercury's sitting there at that 14th degree and about to go retro. So for Sagittarius, yeah, you could be really having some financial things come back up. Money that you owe others or that others owe you. Intimacy and how you look at intimacy. Who you really allow. Intimacy is not always just getting down with the bang, 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 bang. Okay. Intimacy is also who you really allow in your world on a very deep personal level. So you're looking at that. If you are a Capricorn, this is your 7th house of relationships, where Mercury is at. Mercury's going retro. So it's really reviewing and revising relationships, one that you're currently in, past ones, what you want in the future, how you've acted in relationships, your patterns that you've had in them with yourself or with the others that you have chosen to have relationships with. If you are an Aquarius, this is your 6th house, which is work. So you guys can have some shit go haywire at your job. And maybe, if you've made any mistakes in your work, they could be flung back at you during that Mercury retrograde. But you have opportunities to correct things. But you could be really thinking about your job. Like, do I belong here or not? You know what I'm saying? What's really going on? Should I look for a different job? Or if you are trying to start a new job when Mercury's sitting there at that 14th degree, there could be some delays, some confusion. Or if you start the job while Mercury's retrograde, same thing. There could be some, they mess up your login. It takes forever for you to. This happened to me before in real life. I started a job during Mercury retrograde in my 6th house. login information, they screwed that up like forever and ever. It took forever to get it right. Oh, I couldn't really do my job properly because this and that delay. You know what I'm saying? So there could be that going on for Aquariuses, or it's opportunities to correct things, or you're thinking about your health. It could be your health too. You need to look at it from a different perspective. If you're a Pisces, this is your 5th house. So your relationships with your children, if you have any, and also some creative hobbies. Maybe you start, if you had any that you let go of in the past, they're coming back to you. Or if you had romantic relationships with people dating wise, or that they could be coming back to you in your memories or whatever. Or what you want out of love, what makes you happy. The 5th house is like the butterflies and the honeymoon stage and all of that. So Pisces can be really thinking about that, craving that, wanting that, or thinking about what you want and what you deserve out of that. Or it could be working on your self-esteem, Pisces, as well. All right, so that's Mercury retrograde, going retrograde on the 17th, but the whole damn week, you guys, sitting at that 14th degree. So what's going on this week in the areas of life I mentioned for your signs, I may post something on Instagram and my stories for it too, and keep it in the horoscopes highlights tab on my page on there. It's like really an important area of life that's up for review. And also because we have an eclipse in Cancer in the same sign as well. So this week is really about whatever house Cancer is in your chart. All right. It's really all about that, like big time. All right. So on the 18th, this is when the moon moves into Gemini. The moon moves into Gemini on the 18th and stays there for a couple days. Moon and Gemini days are usually very, not as serious. The vibe switches from serious Taurus, worried about money, worried about, do we have enough food? Oh my God, worried about all that stuff. Are we secure in our financial situation? And switches to Gemini, which is like, who cares? Doing that thing, like sticking their tongue out. Nah, let's just play. So that's what the moon and Gemini days are all about. Lot less serious. So maybe a lot of people may need that at that time. It's all, I always say this every month, it's all jokes and memes and laughs and ha-has with Moon and Gemini. So you may find your friends, we still have the sun here, Venus here. So your friends may be just flinging all these memes at you, tagging you in memes and, silly stuff like that. Moon and Gemini days, people talk a lot more. Usually, generally speaking, people may gossip a lot more. And they may gossip and, oh, did you hear this? Did you hear that? Or, oh, did you see that on the news? Or your attention span is a lot shorter on those days. The moon will be with Venus on the 18th and the 19th as well. Venus is still retro. The moon will be with Venus, so that can cause an increase in cravings for things, for cravings of things that you want to shop for and buy, or even things you want to drink or eat. There's moon and Venus days they're all about that. So yeah, the moon is in Gemini until the 20th. Okay, the moon, it does square Neptune. It squares Neptune as well. Like early in the day on the 20th, I think the moon will square Neptune, which can add a little confusion to the mix or whatever. And maybe, want to escape. Okay. And also with mutable squares, I always mention people are more prone to deception. So if you find yourself being that way, check yourself. If it's other people around you, check them, or just keep your distance. Okay. Put a boundary up. All right. So on the 20th, this is when we have the sun moving into Cancer, the moon moving into Cancer, and then we have a solar eclipse because that's the sun and moon together, the same sign, the same degree. Okay. That's how we have a new moon. Now, this is an eclipse though, a solar eclipse. in this sign. It's really late at night over here where I'm at. It's really late at night, like almost to the next day. But it's like right before midnight, it looks like. Pacific US time, but everywhere else is counted as the 21st. There's this solar eclipse in Cancer. I covered it on the June monthly video for the general one here on my channel, but also the horoscope ones on my website. So just in general, like I said, with Mercury in shadow and sitting there at the 14th degree in Cancer and then going retrograde in Cancer, the sign of Cancer, Cancerian themes are really highlighted right now this week. So in general, collectively, Cancer, it rules family. It rules home, your place of living, whether you live in an apartment, a flat, a freaking house, a mansion, a shack, a box, okay? Like a cardboard box on the streets. I mean, wherever you call home, Cancer rules that. And home can be also a feeling. Not just your physical, the four walls that you live within. It's who you find that sense of home within. Pardon me. Sorry, Pisces moon emo moment. Whoever you find that sense of home within, the feeling of home. So that can mean any type of relationship, okay? It can mean friendships. Like, it can mean your blood relatives. Generally, it's usually counted as your blood relatives, your mom and your dad, your parents. But, just keeping it real. A lot of people don't F with those people, or your relationship with them is really jacked up. So you don't feel a sense of home with your blood relatives. You find that within others who you're not blood related to, but they gave you that feeling of family and home. They treat you like, hey, you are one of my people, and I'm one of your peoples, okay? That doesn't have to mean anything to do with nationality or what you physically look like. I'm talking about the heart, okay? You are within my shell. I'm bringing you in from the cold, nurturing you, feeding you, giving you love, support, comfort, security, all of that. Whoever gives you that, the sign of Cancer rules. I know most people will just say, oh, it's your family. Well, guess what? Like I said, some people don't fuck with their family like that. They are distant from them. So family could be the people that don't even look like you at all. Okay. But anyway, whoever they are to you, that's really being brought. There's themes, issues, maybe not even issues, but just something important involving those people is coming up, okay, with this eclipse in Cancer. And it could be your place of living as well, where you feel at home. Maybe the place that you grew up at, you want to return back there. Or for some people, it's the opposite. You want to escape that you want to get out of wherever you grew up at. It just holds too many memories, which Cancer energy does. Too many memories that are not good, that are maybe traumatic, or you're just like ready to get out of the shell and go somewhere else that really feels like home. Because for some people, where you grew up, where you were raised, or where you were born is not home to you. You go somewhere else and you have that feeling of home. Okay, so whatever that means for you is going to be highlighted with this Cancerian eclipse. It can also deal with motherhood, mother issues, mommy issues, whatever. But that's, in general. Okay. Now, the only aspect this eclipse is making that is really tight and significant is an in conjunction to Saturn. As you guys know, I don't always look at in conjunctions. I try to keep it real as basic as possible while still being informative, and mostly deal with squares and oppositions and trines, the strong, really strong, strongest aspects. But as you can see, there is an aspect. It's at 0 degrees here. Saturn is in Aquarius at 0 degrees. So it does make an aspect that is tough and difficult, meaning things can go either way with Saturn themed things with this eclipse. So home and family and all that stuff that I mentioned. And then Saturn rules authority, blocks and delays and being told no and being shut down, locked down, restrictions, rules, regulations, corporations, big businesses, which is corporations, whatever. All those themes, authoritarians in general, which can mean in your own personal life, maybe your parents or your elders. Okay. So, excuse me, Saturn deals with that. So, things can go either way. It's either there's too little of something being dealt with, or there's too much of an energy of Saturn going on. Okay. It depends on your situation, but that is, infiltrated into this eclipse. So we have that eclipse on this day, and then after that, the sun and moon continue to be in the sign of Cancer. So we have the sun in Cancer until July 22nd. The moon remains in Cancer until the 23rd, but I'm only covering the up to the 21st. So yeah, the 21st, we have the moon still in Cancer hanging out. So, this eclipse this weekend is a very emotionally intense one, because the sign of Cancer is ruled by the moon. And this is a lunar event, a major lunar event involving the moon in its home sign. So it's very emotional. Could be a lot of tears, so just prepare. Or just a lot of emotions in general. Emotional doesn't always have to mean, you're crying and you're sad and shit. It can mean like happy emotions. A lot of feelings of joy and sentiment, are coming to the surface, and as well for some people. So, the moon still hanging out in Cancer post the eclipse over the weekend still brings about a lot of emotions. It could be a lot of suppressed emotions. The lid is fucking popped off of those for a lot of people, I'm already feeling it big time. The lid popped off of a lot of suppressed things from years ago that are coming up. Very Cancerian themed, very emotional, that you've got to face. It's just a part of life. Or you can try to run under all this mutable energy and squares to Neptune and stuff, but you still got to face those emotions, you guys. That's really huge this week. So that's it for the week of June 14th through the 21st of 2020. I really appreciate you guys listening. Like I said, I'm sorry if my energy is a little different right now, but I hope things still made sense to everybody, and I hope you guys have a good week. Stay safe and healthy out there. Stay grounded, but also, maintain your spirituality this week especially. It's a real hot spot right now for a lot of spiritual activity one way or the other. So I will see you guys in my next video. You can also peep the June one to look ahead a little bit at what's going on the rest of June if you want. And take care out there. All right, peace.